Hello everyone. Welcome to the Creator Metaphysical Store. Um, so I ended up starting random research about my government, and then I ended up writing these ideas. So I am not. I'm just a simple person, but I don't really know if these are. I kind of feel like their vision. They're things from the future, but also I'm receiving the information. So I'm just gonna start with the ideas that have been popping in my head. Now, of course, I don't have the money to invest or create any of this. These are just ideas that I think us as humanity should look into and possibly try to develop for the sake of our survival. So here goes. And this I wrote it in the pretense of an American. So here we go. As someone who cherishes America, I can no longer stand by and allow it to be governed by fools. So I take it upon myself and to any American who is willing to part with the old order and want to establish world peace and completely demolish the system. We the people have the power. It is only by us voting we continue the cycle and continue to elect people who are corrupt. We cannot truly know who is for the people and who isn't, just by a few small words. It is by our actions that which speak louder than words. As for the monetary system, let it be abolished, and instead reinforce the barter and trades reintroduce the barter and trade system. The native people of this land had the most beautiful trading system, and it's with that trading system I hope to establish trade with the other countries. Hope to inspire trade like this with the other countries, excuse me. For example, say a truck hauling 2 million eggs is worth 3 million pounds of flour. For 1 million gold coins, it's worth 50 million gold, 50 million, 50, excuse me, 500,000 silvers coins. I could further elaborate, but I would discuss it at another time with a detailed list of alchemical value exchange, which I like to call the AVE, or AV for short. As For far as rights to the land and water, we don't technically own it. We just temporarily live on it before we die. So people saying that they own land and countries are liars because unless they are immortal and stop aging, then they cannot truly claim the rights to own the earth for eternity. So politically speaking, no one has political power over the land or the people. They only trick us to try to trick they only try to trick us with this illusion by using what is known as the force of violence and fear. Furthermore, we are merely the tenders of this planet. Just like in the story of Adam and Eve, we are tending to the Garden of Eden. The planet Earth is technically the Garden of Eden. We were supposed to be the tenders of it. So if the planet dies, so do we. So we should grow as many trees, especially fruit and nut bearing trees, and as many vegetables, herbs, and spices of all kinds to ensure the balance of the Earth's natural ecosystems, but also to provide us with the means of having the abundance of fruits and vegetables, things that we need in order to survive. I suggest that we also make eco-friendly homes, ones carved into the mountains. I imagine that if we do so, we could communicate through electricity and radio waves, just like the wires that we use for telephone lines, we can instead use it to wire those wires through the mountains. So we have all these telephone lines, right, where they have transmitting electricity and signals, right? What if we did that, but also connected into the mountains, into people's homes for a direct connection to friends and family and so on? That's what I imagined, us having. So we can still achieve a balance between nature and technology. I'm not asking anyone to sacrifice one for the other, but I believe it is possible for us to achieve that natural balance. If we carve homes in the mountains, we can stay sheltered by natural disasters, except for earthquake. On that front, we could design solar-powered slash wind-powered cities to protect us from earthquakes. For water, we can use the rain, and as for protection against lightning strikes, we can create a lightning rod mechanism that can distribute the energy into useful energy for the entire flying city as a backup reserve of power. As far as trade goes, we can create planes run by solar energy to fly to the cities that are in the skies to deliver goods and other things the cities may need, of course. We can design the flying cities so to where we can grow food in dome-shaped places, buildings with temperature-controlled environment. These are my ideas for the planet going forward. Now, unfortunately, I wrote it with passion for myself and how I care about America, but this doesn't mean that this shouldn't be discussed. I mean, I like to think that these ideas, because I feel like they're not coming from me per se, but from the future and from the Galactic Confederation of Light. So I'm seeing this. I tend to channel when I write or when I weave, and I like to write down what I'm seeing. And I believe, in this case, I was channeling technologies in the future using the power of solar, of wind and um, hydro powered, water powered energy, right? So that's how I see it. Now, of course, I saw other things in my vision, and while I was typing this, but I didn't feel it necessary to elaborate until I got on the video. So for the mountain homes, I saw these. Um, we use what's it called? Bioluminescence, I think it's called, where they naturally glow in the dark, mushrooms or glowworms to decorate the bedrooms. I even saw like crystals being used to light passageways. And of course, we had electricity wires running through, so we could still use electricity and we could, have houses with electricity in them, you know. So that's my thing, and how I saw it. And I also saw it using fire a lot more than gasoline, because it was more explosive in nature, and we just didn't want um, the mountain to explode and create harm to other people. And of course, I saw it as a labyrinth, and I saw like a labyrinth of like tunnels where it connect to a lot of different people into like different homes and stuff. So, for example, like I saw where there was one family, but then they had cousins and sisters and all that. It was like a big community. It was super cool. Now, I know that it might not be possible for me to do any of these ideas in this lifetime, but I hope that these ideas um, or might inspire some billionaire or millionaire to try to invest in this, and maybe we could use these ideas that I'm getting for a better way of living. I mean, I get it. They might not have the power to change the monetary system, but they could at least establish a barter and trade system. They might be being even the barter and trade system itself is, to me, honestly, what I had come up with in order to say, for example, we, because I know solar panels aren't cheap, but what if we instead used a barter and trade system? Say, oh, you got, say I need uh, let's just say a copper is needed to make a component for the solar power panel, right? Well, we could say, well, for this copper, because this mountain is full of coal too, we could say for this copper, for this amount of copper, say it's 1 million rolls of copper, right? For that, we will pay you, say it's 1 minute, say 5 million 5 million pounds of coal, right? Or something like that. So it's like I was thinking of the barter and trade system in a way that instead of having to pay for money in order to make these ideas come true, because there's solar power, hydropowered stuff, wind powered stuff. Instead of using money to make these objects, we'd use a barter and trade system to be like, oh, we need this, so we'll trade you this. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I thought for the planet. And I honestly, with when I was talking about the land and how we don't really own the land, it's true we don't. We don't. How can we say we own the land when we have a short lifespan expectancy? We will always end up dying sooner or later, right? So technically, we don't really own the land. Mother Earth, or also known as Eden, the Garden of Eden, which is planet Earth, that's who owns the land. We're just like the caretakers that reproduce and help tend to the land. But we have abused our caretaking abilities and have overrun it with technology and weapons that weren't even supposed to even be made. That we shouldn't have made. Honestly, I mean, I'm sure they're useful explosively, say to carve into a mountain or something, right? But we were never supposed to really use them to harm other people, which in course harms planet Earth too. So that's what I have understood in my enlightenment and how I view the world. And I kind of like the idea of like just scattering fruits and vegetables and trees, just scattering them. So that way, when someone walks in the forest, they can find, oh, there's some fresh lettuce, there's some mugwort. We could go out into the forest and just go and look for these plants, right? So, and as far as the homes in the mountains, I didn't really see. I can like my idea of what I'm seeing from the future. I don't know if this is from the future per se, but I'm seeing us using like because the earthquakes are vibrations, right? And I see us having an early detection um, earthquake system using a vibrational sound technology. So it's like we have these rods, and then when it makes this certain sound and a lot, and we'll be able to know it's like within, say, within an hour. So we quickly prepare, something like that. Of course, I see it progressing into So yeah, I do see that, and I do see that eventually we create a mechanism so that can evenly distribute the vibration of the earthquake to where it safely distributes it outward into the sky or something like that. But then I also see it um, we using that energy to create powerful gravity technology. Of course, I can understand the need for earthquakes in order to continuously um, shift the magma, in order, because our Earth is core is made of molten rock, right? Apparently. So I was thinking, I can see how it can affect that it's necessary in order to shift the rock into the core of Mother Earth. Now we can just protect a certain area within reason. We must allow just enough, like say it's out of 50% we can allow earthquakes to touch, but then the other 50 would must distribute evenly to all the parts of the world in order to truly create safe. We can like create safe. I keep seeing safe zones, so it's like these. I'm seeing these rods, but I'm not sure if they're rods or I just can't get any information on it. But they look like rods, and they just evenly distribute the vibration into the atmosphere. Um, and I'm seeing ships, so maybe like we eventually create ships that harness that power of sound in order to create like a gravity technology or something. And I see this in the future for humanity. Now, I'm thinking, judging by the structures of how the planet looks, because I'm looking at into to on planet Earth, but I'm seeing a lot of desolated buildings, and like plants the have overgrown the most buildings, and so it's like the land has already taken back the cities, right? So I'm thinking that we this is probably about a century. What is 100 years? A century, right? I want to say a decade, but I'm getting like very close to a century too. So it could be anywhere between a decade and a century after the natural disasters and stuff. I am asking the future, um, my future self, how did this come to be? And I'm seeing molten fire, like magma and stuff. I'm seeing a tornado, like a typhoon, hurricanes. I'm seeing tornadoes and earthquakes. So this is, I guess, when the big shakedown happens. And it's probably going to be 10 years after that. Now, what I'm seeing though is I'm seeing aliens actually physically contacting us, like physically interacting with us. And it's just after the planet and this all dies down. It's probably I'm seeing 25 years later. I'm seeing though that these aliens explain that we've been living among you in what they call like humanoid suits in order to bring forth helpful guidance and technology. Like they have these special technology where they can look human, but they're technically not. You know, um, so and it's like they're saying that they're offering us technology to kind of create the homes that I'm seeing, which are the homes in the mountains and the flying technology. They said they could help us, but at the same time, they don't want us to abuse their technology. So we basically signed a treaty with the galactic. I'm seeing it like a collective of people. So maybe it's like a collective of extraterrestrials that have come in a common goal to uh, have freedom and expression of self, right? Like you know how Star Trek does the Starfleet, right? The Starfleet Alliance or whatever, right? So that's kind of like what I'm seeing. And um so we have to have a they have a treaty, and they also reserved the right to take back their technology. But they said they can only help us to a certain point. So we agreed that they would help us make new eco-friendly homes and solar-powered cities and such and of that nature. But they said that once we have a full-blown establishment, like a full-blown community, I'm seeing like different communities around the world and these mountains, you know. So it's like basically they said once we're good and they're gonna leave and they'll come back, but they'll come back to check on us, and they gave us this technology to contact the Confederation, like the Sirius A, which is where they hold council. So um, I'm seeing that there's certain people elected as representatives for humanity, and how they do it is basically by the energy of our energy. So it doesn't always stay the same person, but it's like if there's like a change every few years. But like so we could select a representative, a different representative every time we go to one of us is taken to the collective, but it's always a man and a woman, and we could have um, three a piece of like the man and the woman can have three other people accompany them to represent the other countries. So like not other countries, but the people itself. And I see like one, two, three, four, about five, possibly six, seven. There's like three sky cities and then five mountain cities. And so like I'm seeing that they select electives like we the people must unanimously vote for them, and how in order to see who would get to go to the council. And you know um I am seeing in the vision that they are talking to me telepathically, and they're saying, they're just I get this feeling of gratitude and thankfulness and just love, and this image of a hug, because they said we it's like I'm hearing this voice and this thing, we know that who you are, we've watched over you, especially because you have always been a most curious person, and we truly trust and trust this alliance to you and several other beings just like you. And it's like I'm seeing like we get this badge of honor, and it's so beautiful. Um so what I am seeing here is that after they show up, they help us get everything up and running, but then they leave, and they because they got to go to other places and other star systems. And um I see some of the humans actually wanting to leave Earth and go to other places. The only concern, though, is that only thing that they are concerned with is that they need to make sure that they could survive in space, you know. So what, you know, on other planets and stuff. So they had to actually wait until they could get it approved with the council to take food and other things that were from our native planet, and we had to actually talk to other planets, not just the species living on the planets, but we had to talk to the planet itself and to see if it was even willing to allow us to grow these foods on its body, and they just had to see which ones were compatible. And like the blue people that were over in the Pacific Ocean and stuff, they had to assimilate with the water in order to not be killed by the planet's energy, its immune system, right? So we had to figure out what the other planets were able to assimilate into their bodies. You know what I'm saying? So we had to see which planets could take tomatoes and which planets could actually like be compatible with lettuce and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So in doing so, we allowed to spray the seeds of these different plants. But we also were asked. We were also given the task of also seeing which plants from different planets would be compatible with our planet. So we were given permission to see, okay, this plant looks a lot like a tomato. Is it capable of like growing on our planet, right? Is it basically we had help because there were other aliens that were specialized in this. So they could help us see if this was going to be an invasive species or something that's very parasitic to the planet Earth, and stuff like that. It was so beautiful. And I'm seeing this shortly after all of the natural disasters. So I hope they come soon, no offense, because it's about this is part of the change. I embrace this change and this energy. But that's how I'm seeing. I'm just seeing this as it's time, the change. It's all about change cycle, the nature, cycles of nature. This is part of nature. So you can't just say, oh, how mean of you and cool of you to say, oh, I hope these natural disasters come. But I'm not saying it like you gotta also realize that these cycles of nature are literally a part of the laws of nature of this reality. So technically, I'm not encouraging death of the human species, but I'm just saying that I hope it comes soon because then I know it's coming, and I do know what's coming. I do see all this coming. I'm just not sure if I'll be in this form or in a different form. So I do feel as though that I might live an old age if I survive all of the natural disasters, of course. Um, I do see myself living for another 25 years after the natural disasters, and then I decided that I wanted to leave the planet. So I talked to the Galactic Confederation of Light, the council, and I was like, look, I want to I don't want to live in this body anymore. Is there a way that I can peacefully leave this body without causing any trauma to my soul? Is there a way that I could be transferred to a different body and also still help guide humanity? And that's what I really want. Like, I still want that right now, but I don't want to do it in a negative way. So I'm hoping that the Galactic Confederation of Light could give me an answer on that. So yeah. With all this being said, I hope these earthly events are happening. Now, as also, I just want to make a reminder that as I said in the beginning, this was originally a speech for America, but then I ended up channeling a whole bunch of different um, things for different. Uh, I just kept seeing visions, and I just kept trying to write them all down as fast as I could. So um, I hope that these ideas that I was getting, I think they're ideas from I really truly believe that these are ideas from earthly events that are going to happen in the future. That's why, like for me personally, um, I just feel that. I truly feel that. Originally, this was a speech for myself and just to write up all my thoughts and whatnot. But now I'm just like, I just kind of feel like I was channeling. this from the future. I think it was like I feel like it's the future me is what I'm saying. So anyway, I'm gonna shut off this live stream and I'll see you guys when I see you. I believe I'm supposed to be doing energy work at 8. I think I said 8. So I will see you guys in another hour. Kisses.